loving life. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. And I get so excited about this stuff that I am doing more of these long form live videos. It's a pleasure to meet so many incredible people here too. If you have any comments about the topic at hand, that would be wonderful. I try to read them, though it's difficult sometimes to see them while I'm doing this, but I will try to respond in real time. And of course, if you have any questions, I will do the best I can to answer them. From my own perspective, again, I always say that here that this is my interpretation of Sri Harold Klemp. And now there's Sri Doug Kunin and all of the other Eck masters. I also love to read from some of Paul Twitchell's books and do interp there as well. Okay, so we're going to hear another uplifting quote of the day right now. And I already put one up for the day, but this is one I just randomly opened to. I like doing that random kind of thing. You guys, you can do that too if you are going through like a time in your life where you're like, what is next? What am I supposed to do? You can always, get into contemplation, chant the word Hugh, of course, and you can also add this idea of opening a book and just kind of looking at something randomly. And then hopefully, excuse me, it will speak to you. Okay. So this one says dreams touch every level of our life. They may let us glimpse the future or give suggestions for healing or share insights into our relationships. Above all, they can and will steer us more directly towards God. So it's really important to write your dreams down or record them in the middle of the night. If you can make yourself get into that habit energy of it, it will become easier. It's not always easy to do. In fact, last night I kind of failed at that. And now I've lost the remembrance from those dream travels. And I know they were good, but sometimes we just don't do that. But if we do, we have so many gems of wisdom available for us to contemplate on. So it will help us in so many different ways, ideas for all sorts of things, not just relationships and healing, but taking your spiritual self further. It could even be taking your financial self further. So it's really helpful. So without anything further on that, I'm going to move to one of my favorite books on the planet, The Spiritual Laws of Life, Harold Klemp. So yesterday we did the law of economy. You guys can check that I believe it's in the spiritual laws and exercises, also under live. So if you want to just find the live long form videos, move the thing over and go to live, and there should be like 7 or 8 of them right now. So here we go. This is called the law of facsimiles. Isn't that interesting? There's actually a spiritual law called the law of facsimiles. The law of facsimiles states that all effects in life are brought about by the thoughts and pictures in the mind of the individual. What are you picturing? What are you even taking pictures of? you know, this is one of the spiritual laws of life, the sixth law of the physical universe. I love to take pictures of nature and animals. I actually once knew someone who took pictures of toilets. I mean, just saying, like, you have to think about what you're taking pictures of. You definitely want to, put your focus on things that are of a higher vibration because that's what's going to help you in life. Facsimiles deal with those pictures you took in the mind. These pictures have been with you since you came into the world. They are filed away by soul like cards in a little niche in the soul's body. Generally, facsimiles are either borrowed or they're one's own. One can have either or both through a compulsive basis or on an unknowing basis. They will influence him in one way or other. These facsimiles are merely little units of energy which gather about the body, mind, and soul. They keep the attention of the individual eye on them, especially if they are bothersome pictures. This is what Oriental religion keeps calling karma. Okay, so if you have something in your mind, you need to address it and work with it, because if it's like keeps coming up, it's not going to go away till you deal with it. But again, what I said earlier, to me at least, again, my interpretation, don't put your flashlight on the things you don't want more of. On the other hand, what he's saying, I believe, is don't avoid things too. If you have some karmic things you need to work out, deal with them, because they're not going to go away. So they're just kind of surrounding you. The flows of energy which are recorded in facsimiles are dead flows. In order for them to have any power or life, a new flow of attention must be played over them by the individual. Okay, so that's a turn of events. So instead of giving power, switch the channel. Okay, so you see that no matter what is wrong with the individual, he is the one who is keeping it that way. Yes, again, what I said in the beginning, don't put your flashlight on gross things. Put your flashlight on things that are of a higher repute and beauty and love. This comes in with cause and effect. When one is on a low level, he fails in his beingness. He is existing on death wishes with qualities of unbeingness. The chief aspects of cause and effect are the positive and negative. When an individual is cause, he is being positive. When he is effect, he is being negative. The art of good picturization is the art of full beingness. Wow. I'm loving this because I'm very visual, and it's really important to be aware of what you're focusing on. Like, can we in this moment see something of love and beauty? So the next time your mind goes to something of a lower vibration, can you lift it? Can you bring it up higher and say to yourself, stop thought, see something that's going to be useful in this world? Because the unuseful stuff, if you keep feeding it, it's going to be harder to get away from it. So, what I'm saying is choose the pictures that you want to see in your mind's eye. Choose them wisely, very wisely. Secondary sources to us refer to people who claim someone else's experiences as their truth. They live by facsimile. This type of experience is second-handed and breeds blind faith. The difference between a primary and a secondary source is the difference between knowing and faith. In Eck, we want to know what life is all about via our own personal experience here on the physical plane as well as in the inner worlds. Okay, we want to be in that knowing state, not just having blind faith. We need to really go into some deep contemplations to get there if we aren't already there. I find that really helps when I chant the hue and just contemplate. And I ask myself kind of probing questions like, what do I think about this? What do I think about that? And then I listen and I understand myself in a deeper level. A lot of people avoid quiet and solitude because they don't want to do that kind of work. It's maybe, too much for them to look it within. It's not something they want to look at, but the point is that eventually you'll need to, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Okay, I'm going to move on to invisible laws. There are 7 principles of consciousness which are among the spiritual laws of life. They're called invisible laws. Appreciation 1, appreciation of the teacher, the Mahanta, the current living Act Master, or anyone who's an Arahata teacher. I mean, I appreciate people that teach me stuff that I just meet, walking out somewhere. That's a teacher too. Okay. Sincerity in seeking higher levels of realization. Sincerity. You have to be sincere, not just kind of like, oh, maybe I'll try, but really sincerity. Like you really have to want it. Unselfishness, the willingness to sacrifice the little self to the greater. The little self to the greater good. Okay, so the ego, bye-bye. Idealism, the faculty of perceiving spiritual values through a perfect pattern. Devotion, to fill the heart with love and aspiration and align oneself with the will of God. Align with God's will, not your own. Personal effort, the spiritual motivating force, which is within all. Personal effort. And attainment, the reward for spiritual effort. Okay, so I'm going to close the spiritual laws of life today, and I'm going to read one more. Spiritual exercise of Eck, Harold Klemp, and it says your doorway to wisdom, freedom, and love. And this is all over my channel. I'm on the 15th one. It's called the formula technique. Like so many other Eckists, I found that when I went into contemplation or the dream state, I'd have an experience on the inner planes. But I often wondered, how can I tell whether the experience happened on the astral plane, the causal plane, or the mental plane? Good point. I knew there was a difference between these levels, but when something occurred, I often could not tell where it came from. One night, the Eck master, Zask, gave me a technique. It's like a visitor's pass to the other planes, he told me. Anyone can use it, whether you're a first initiate or a fourth one. Instead of just letting the experience happen and then hoping someone will show you a sign that tells you in bright letters where you are, you have a way to tell where you are in the inner worlds. Formula 2 works for visiting the astral plane. You chant Hugh 2 times. Then you breathe 2 times. The astral plane is the second plane, so that makes sense. You keep doing this for 15 minutes before bed or in contemplation. Lightly keep in mind that you want to visit the astral plane. Formula 3 works for the causal plane. It's the same procedure, except you chant 3 times and breathe 3 times. Okay? So you would chant Mane 3 times. This is the plane of seed ideas and seed karma. When you go to sleep, you very gently try to hold your thoughts on the causal plane, third plane. For Formula 4 is for the mental plane. You chant Hugh 4 times, then breathe 4 times. Formula 5 is for the soul plane. 5 Hughs, 5 breaths. Before you begin, write in your dream journal which formula you are going to try. After you have any degree of success with this, begin comparing all the experiences of the same plane. See if there isn't a thread that works through them. There is a different texture to all the experiences on the astral level than there is for the causal, where you're trying to see past lives. I found this technique to be very helpful. Perhaps you can try it tonight or in the weeks to come. And from my own personal experience, I have found, yes, that there is a difference. And oftentimes I'll know that I'm in a lower astral plane or an astral plane because I'll see a pink or a red hue. Not hue, like the chant, but the color. I'll see that color. And so I'll know, oh, okay, I'm on the astral. Because there are correlating colors, like the mental is blue. So you'll start to understand where you are the more you do it. And that's very helpful. So I think I'm going to finish with Stranger by the River. And this is again, Paul Twitchell. And it's a priceless book. It is priceless, on the secret knowledge of God. That's so true. Wonderful title. Okay. So this is the last chapter, and it's called The Riddle of God. The seeker and his teacher stood at the edge of the river near the old oak tree, looking out over the brown, muddy water which flowed onward toward the sea. The sun was rising over the hills, casting long lances of light across the forest, shores, and rivers. Tears glistened in the eyes of the seeker as he turned to the master. I want to stay with you forever, O sire, he pleaded. Must I go again? I am wearied and tired and need your comfort. I am always with you unto the end of the world, said Rebazar Tars gently, with one hand on the seeker's shoulder. Rebazar Tars is another Eck master. You have your own work to do in this world with your beloved at your side. You must go and do. He spoke again. You are to carry the word of God into this world unceasingly and without hesitation. Never be concerned, for I am always with you, guiding you and helping you in every way. My heart goes with you. I tell you that you must be as Jesus told his disciples. Be you therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Harm nothing, but always keep in your own heart the very love of God for all its creations, and then no harm can come to you. Revere your own fellow beings and all creatures of the heart. Look to God for wisdom, understanding, and guidance. It will give you all when your heart is tired and sore and weary. There is no burden that is too great for God. Take whatever it gives with the fullest grace of your heart and never feel that you are without it. God's grace and mercy will pour upon you every moment of the day and night. It will watch over you like the shepherd watches over his flock at all hours. My instruction with you is finished at the present, and only in spirit will I give you guidance while you are in this world. I have only one last thing to tell you. This is it, and it must be impressed forever upon your mind until we meet again. And be not alarmed, for we shall meet again within a year from this time, upon the very spot where we now stand. I wish to declare the riddle of God to you. It is most important that this be done. Listen closely and understand. The riddle of God is this: God is what you believe it is. No man is wrong about the existence of God, and yet no man is right about his knowledge of God. No man is wrong about the existence of God, and no man is right about his knowledge of God. There's no mystery in God except that it is what each soul believes that it is. So the riddle is that, but all men will quarrel and argue about the greatness of God and their knowledge of him. Yet every man is right in his knowledge of God. But does this mean that the drunkard is as right as the great minister who preaches from the pulpit? Yea, I say that he, the drunkard, is as much upon the path as the preacher is in his pulpit. Ah, but this is justified in your thinking. Each is in his own place according to his understanding. But there's the answer. If the drunkard seeks God through his bottle, and it seems irreverent to speak of both in the same breath, then let it be. But I mean to tell you that the seeking of happiness, be it on the material plane or a spiritual plane, is the seeking of God. The ideal of the drunkard is to become drunk and unconscious so he can forget all and dwell within himself in a state of happiness. The God seeker wishes to become unconscious in a state of inner silence, to forget all and dwell in a state of happiness within. What is the difference? None, I tell you. For the drunkard may be closer to God than the God seeker, who with all his intensity for God, for the sugmad, may drive it away. On the other hand, the drunkard will in his drunkenness forget himself, his selfishness and false self, and it being this way may have God's mercy granted him, and lo, the enlightenment comes. Only two things pervade upon the seeker or the drunkard. Both must be interested in what they seek, be it God or selfish interest. Both must have concentrated upon what they are seeking, and in finding it must believe in it. The only difference is usually purity of character and ideals. But who knows what your fellow man has in his heart unless his tongues or deeds reveal such? And such is the riddle of God. And isn't that the truth? We don't know what people really are thinking and who they really are. God will come to anyone who needs him, regardless of what their state of character or ideals may be. This is the riddle of God. Now farewell and hurry home, said the Tibetan, embracing the seeker in his great arms. I will expect to see you again when the April blossoms fill the air by the river Jhelum again. The seeker turned away and walked off into the distance. As Rebazar watched until he disappeared over a hillock, I want to point out that the Jhelum, Jhelum, because we were just talking about facsimiles and being visual, I want to point out that you can actually find the river Jhelum in an April blossoming tree in pictures online. And I did do that, so I can actually see what that place actually looks like where Rebazar Tars and Paul Twitchell stood. The seeker turned away and walked off into the distance as Rebazar watched until he disappeared over a hillock. Then the Tibetan took up a handful of rice and threw it into the water. As the fish nibbled on it, he looked down and spoke. So be the way of God, little brothers, so be the way of God. All is well in his world with yourselves, your brothers, and me. Barak Bashad means may the blessings be. Wow. I love this. I think I've actually read parts of this chapter before. I know I have actually. But I think it's worthy. And this is a wonderful book to have in your collection as well. You guys can get them at eckankar.org. I was asked in a live the other day, um, what was I asked? I was asked where I can get, like, they can get books. Someone wants to know where he could get more Eckankar books. And I always say eckankar.org, ECKANKAR.org. But I will point out also, if you go onto eBay or Amazon, you can find books too. So someone was saying that they might be out of print, some older books. You can find them. I think eBay has stuff and Amazon. So I think I'm going to go enjoy my morning Americano. I hope you guys make it a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be here learning with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Lots of love.